SummerSlam is WWE's second biggest show of the year. That's why we call it Hot WrestleMania, and darn it, because we are massive nerds, we've got to predict the card. And straight away, I'm just going to say to you, Cody Rhodes versus John Cena. Do you know what's going to happen? Cody Rhodes won the King of the Ring, unless WWE is going to screw us over and make us cry water from our seeing devices. Well, that's the match that we should get, and we've talked about this 1,000 times. Cody Rhodes should beat Mr. Jonathan Cena, and then John Cena should probably feud with Logan Paul. Just one match, just one of his dates, because nobody is going to boo John Cena over Logan Paul, and then that's an easy way to turn John Cena back babyface as he rides on out for the last 6 months, and actually probably finishes now with something with the Seth Rollins group, which makes me very pleased, because I predicted all of that as well, like a nerd. We've started off fast here, but, you know, I actually think it's quite a hard card to predict when we do go through some of the matches, and some people I've just left off the things, I can't figure it out, but that's what you can do in the comments, and also come join me on my Patreon adventures at patreon.com/Simon316. We're doing a bunch of watch-alongs. We're doing Undertaker versus Undertaker soon from SummerSlam 94. I'm pumped about that, which brings us to the other big match we're having, Tiffany Stratton versus Jade Cargill, and yes, Naomi's probably going to cash in. But it's the same as the Cody situation. Jade Cargill won the Queen of the Ring, and therefore she has earned this right, and we said SummerSlam. I guess Tiffany Stratton could lose her championship. I mean, we are doing the Trish Stratus match at Evolution, but I don't think anyone's going to pull that one. There's no need, and I think we'll probably have some shenanigans in there as well. But I mean, I don't want to get into predictions properly just yet, but I would bet my hair that Naomi is going to cash in just because it's an easy story to tell. And then finally, Naomi will be the champion. And we'll probably know one or two things will happen. Naomi will just randomly be in another match to trick you like Seth Rollins did at WrestleMania 31, or she won't be on the card, which is a nice wink, wink, nudge, nudge. But Cody versus John Cena and Jade Cargill versus Tiffany Stratton are absolutely going down. I don't think that Tiffany versus Jade will main event. I do think John Cena versus Cody Rhodes will be the main event of night 2. And as for the main event of night 1, well, we'll get there, but I don't know. Women's IC Championship, I think, also is going to be on the line. I mean, we could do this at Evolution, so I may be getting ahead of myself here, but I don't want to, because I'm not trying to throw shade at Evolution. I'm happy the event is happening, but my gosh, does a lot of it feel rushed, whereas Becky Lynch versus Lyra Valkyria versus Bayley doesn't feel rushed at all, and it actually feels like we're taking our time, and also, that kind of match for that Intercontinental Championship, which is doing way better at the moment. I want on the biggest stage. We can't do it at WrestleMania. That was 4 months ago, so instead we do it at Hot WrestleMania, so that is what we should do. No ifs, no buts, no maybes. I think it would be mad not to do it anywhere else but here. Some of the story is crazy, like Lyra being like, Bayley, you never text me back, and Bayley like, man, you got to get out of my face, and then Lyra Valkyria basically cost her the IC Championship, and yet Lyra Valkyria thinks that she's in the right, so she's probably going to go heel, obviously not. But Becky Lynch, I think, is doing great work here. Bayley's return still feels exciting. Lyra Valkyria has absolutely benefited from working both of these guys, so we should do the triple threat match. Again, getting way ahead of myself here. Lyra should win, and then the rest of the year should be Becky Lynch versus Bayley, and I want to get deep down into the woods, man. I want all the depth. I want all the crazy promos. Sometimes, and I don't mean this as disparaging as it sounds, but it does feel like we don't let the female talent do this as much as the men. If you've got Becky Lynch and you've got Bayley, who have basically been on the same rise throughout WWE, and they want to do a proper personal feud, my gosh, let them. And then, yes, we do have a program that's something to do with the championship. And I don't know, Lyra can go and feud with Stephanie Vaquer. Whoever the flub you want, there'll be plenty of options I'm not even thinking about. Probably Roxanne Perez, actually, now I do say it out loud. That feels like something you do want to do, because you're going to establish 2 new stars. But unless Evolution screws me over, I do think we're going to get this triple threat match at SummerSlam, and let's face it, WWE loves multi-mans. Another one that I think is obvious as we carry on the ones that won't make me look stupid, Dominic Mysterio versus Finn Balor. I mean, I am recording this on July the 4th. Happy July 4th to all my American friends. So SummerSlam is a month away. I don't think we can continue on past 4 weeks with more shenanigans with Dominic and Finn. And I know you're saying, but time, and Finn Balor is now a tag team champion. That is true, but the way that WWE has treated the tag team championships as of late, well, I'm not 100% sure they'll even be focused on SummerSlam, but I could be wrong. I just think if we come out of SummerSlam and we still haven't done this, unless we're waiting for Clash in Paris for some reason, which is only a couple of weeks afterwards, that would be fine. And in that case, you can do the Judgment Day versus who? That's the problem. There are no tag teams on Raw. I don't think they're going to run it back with the New Day, which is a shame for me, but I can't see it. I mean, you could do the Creeds. Doesn't feel like a pay-per-view match. You could do the War Raiders. Doesn't feel like a pay-per-view match. It goes on and on and on. And that's why I think we should just move into the Intercontinental title stuff. But of course, there is an outlier to this. AJ Styles and Dominic still haven't had their match because Dominic has been injured. So maybe you do need to get to that first, and maybe that is why the Judgment Day won the tag team titles. So that is the only asterisk I will put in here. That does make sense. You can't jump past AJ Styles, but there is that Satellite's main event that's happening before SummerSlam, and I kind of think we could do it there, but nothing has been announced, or has it? I don't think so. I think Dominic Mysterio has been cleared out of me recording this video. But they are my two kind of switcheroos. Finn versus Dom or AJ versus Dom, but coming out of SummerSlam, we have to start pulling something with the Judgment Day stuff because it's not gone too long. It's on the precipice. I think maybe it has gone a little bit long. We just need to shake things up a little bit. You don't want an Austin Theory and Grayson Waller situation. They're on main event the other day, and Austin Theory was just getting cheered, and WWE still doesn't want to capitalize on this. It's very strange. Imagine you were in a breakup for that long. All your friends would hate you. They'd be like, listen, if you are not going to get this done, we can't support you anymore because we're bored of talking about it. So now I've just had that big speech. I will lean towards AJ Styles versus Dominic Mysterio. But yes, within 4 weeks of coming out there, I mean, why I have the power over this, I don't know. We got to do Finn versus Dom too. I actually think Dominic Mysterio will probably walk away with that championship after both of them. Right, this is where we start to have some fun because, of course, it is Rhea Ripley versus Io Sky at Evolution. I think Rhea Ripley is going to win, mostly because Io Sky has held that championship for a while, and most people thought she'd lose it at WrestleMania, and she didn't, but also WWE has just done nothing with her title reign since WrestleMania, which has annoyed me. But if Rhea Ripley wins, all of a sudden it opens up the door to do Io Sky versus Asuka. I cannot believe that conversation they had a couple of weeks ago before the Queen of the Ring final, when Asuka went, I would love to fight you, Io, and even I'd love to fight you, Asuka, was for nothing, and it made it weird when Io Sky walked out and said, oh, Adam Pearce said I can choose whatever match I want, so I choose you, Rhea Ripley. It's like, wait a minute, Io. You told me 7 days ago that Asuka was your dream match. Somebody just handed it to you on a platter, and you've thrown it in the bin. That was weird. But as long as it does tie to something like SummerSlam, that would be awesome, especially if there's no title on the line. As weird as that sounds, but if you can get into some kind of babyface versus babyface beef, goes back to the Becky Lynch-Bayley stuff, that is way more interesting than just going, oh, you're going to fight because it's a championship. And they'll have such a good match. If you're on that SummerSlam card and you know that Io Sky and Asuka are hanging around, you better be terrified because they're going to be out there to steal the show. And again, I think most nerd fans like myself would be way down for that match, so it should be on a platform that is considered big. SummerSlam is considered big, again, the number 2 show out of all of the 12 months, and I just want to see it. And given that Asuka has just come back from this major injury, let us not stand on ceremony here, Mr. Wayne. People get hurt all the time. It's a flip of a coin because wrestling is super dangerous. I don't want to risk it. So just get it done. If Rhea Ripley wins that belt, again, it opens up the door to do whatever the flub you want with Io Sky. So I'm basically trying to manifest this one into existence, even though, yeah, she go, Simon, won't they just do the rematch at SummerSlam? Probably. But again, I don't think we need to see that match again because we had to have a lot of variations of it over the last 6 to 8 months, whereas Asuka versus Io Sky just feels so damn fun. So I think we should do it at SummerSlam. It'll be different. It'll be fresh. They probably have different stories and different experiences they can bring to that, so it will feel totally unlike anything else on the card, and that's what you need. If we're going to have 6 to 7 matches one day and 6 to 7 matches the next day, they can't all be the same because it'll be massively boring. I'm going with Asuka versus Io. Okay, so this is where I am going to go full-on fantasy booking, but I am kind of confident and also not because my fantasy booking is usually terrible. Drew McIntyre obviously returned on SmackDown. He got really mad at Randy Orton, and he got really mad at Cody Rhodes. Now, we know that Cody Rhodes is preoccupied at SummerSlam, but do you know who is not? Randy Orton. And do you know who would actually benefit from losing yet another match, especially if somebody else cheats, in order to turn heel? It would be Randy Orton. And do you know who needs a massive win? The returning Drew McIntyre. And that's a huge match too. Drew McIntyre versus Randy Orton could headline a show, depending on what else you've got going on the card. I think they're going to fight at SummerSlam. I think it's going to be sold as a big deal. And I think that Drew McIntyre is going to win. Now, Drew is going to cheat here. Drew is going to be the worst person ever, and I'm sure Randy Orton once again will consider or even try and have it backfire on him like he did at the King of the Ring final, because then we have built in all this interest to see him become a jerk, to see him become a bad guy, to see him do the mega heel turn. Now, I pitched that to somebody the other day, and they're like, you can't have Randy Orton lose again. Any wrestler can lose if it ties into what the story is trying to tell. So if like a couple of weeks after this, Cody's trying to be nice to Randy, going, oh, you'll get him, champ, and he drops Cody with an RKO, and then he's like, listen, I am done, I'm losing all these matches, I'm going back to the old guy. Everybody will understand that, and nobody is going to remember, ha ha ha, Randy's lost all these matches. They're just going to go, well, I can kind of understand that timeline. And also, because I'm convinced that when we do get into Cody versus Randy properly, the Randy Orton will win that championship, so he'll be back on top of the mountain. He can lose now, because it's all justification. It's all bread, spread seeds, breadcrumbs, it's all seeds leading to justify why he would do it. And I think that he's such a big name and he's such an entity at the moment. You don't just want to do it and go, well, Randy Orton used to be heel. No, give me some current, give me some recency bias, or I can look at that and go, well, now I get it. And losing at the King of the Ring last year, losing at the King of the Ring this year, and then having Drew McIntyre screw him over. It cannot be a clean win. Things need to happen to Randy Orton where he feels like he's been left in the lurch or nobody's helping him, or Cody, why didn't you come out to assist me? Because a good bad guy always has real justification, which is what made Drew McIntyre was so good, especially in his feud with CM Punk. He would say stuff and you'd be like, oh, he's got a good point there, but he'd be so obnoxious with you, like, man, I'm still going to shake my fist at you at the Lemon Tree coming back from Shelbyville. So I really hope we do this. I think it will feel massive on a card like SummerSlam. They have such a good match. And also, Drew McIntyre needs some wins, right? He is kind of the opposite to Randy Orton. In order to cement where he is on the card, he has to be able to go, ha, 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 my new choice of life does get me victories. So it serves both of them. And they're the best wrestling matches, when somebody can win and take steps up the card, but also somebody loses and then uses that to change their character. That's the best kind of wrestling. It's the kind of wrestling WWE didn't do for a while until we did get new WWE. So I'm very excited and confident on this one. I'm probably going to be wrong. I also think we're going to do the rematch between Solo Sikoa and Jacob Fatu. I think most we took the belt off Jacob Fatu just to introduce Tala Tonga, I think we're calling him, so tall Tonga, because the man is tall. And then you can just put the belt back on him at SummerSlam. I don't mind that. You are hot potatoing a little bit, but I think Jacob Fatu will then probably hold it all the way to WrestleMania. And also, it's kind of smart, goes back to our narrative argument, because Tala Tonga coming in and actually having an effect on championships especially makes him feel like a big deal, and it makes him feel like a threat. And also, man, do I love Solo Sikoa. So even if he only has a 5-week reigning US champion, the fact that he finally won a belt using all these dastardly tactics that he has been promoting for a long while, especially because Jacob Fatu never helped him with that. I think it's wonderful. I think it's nice. Some people seem a little bit down on this story, which is fine. You can't like them all. But I'm just such a fan of Jacob Fatu, and I'm such a fan of Solo Sikoa and all the people he's built around him. And of course, we have Tama Tonga to come back. I just think it works. And at SummerSlam, it probably will be some sort of stipulation. And if all of the new Bloodline guys run in and Jacob Fatu sort of smacks them all, then hits his big moonsault and gets the pin on Solo Sikoa, it's just an easy and nice thing to do. Like, this always sounds disparaging, I don't mean it to, but it is a mid-card feud, so you can have a little bit more fun with it. You don't have to be super duper strict. So that's what I do, right? Don't need to overthink this. Get it done. Put the belt back on the good guy and make the bad guy look like an idiot, even though he's got a bunch of henchmen. And of course, within 6 months to a year, all the henchmen are going to turn on him too. This is where we get to 4 people that I am totally baffled about. And I think this is a good thing. I love the fact that WWE has me guessing. But I'm going off rumors here, and that is that Roman Reigns will be competing at SummerSlam and he will be back soon. And again, that could have something to do with Jacob Fatu, because Jacob Fatu does need a friend. But Roman Reigns leaving after all that stuff with CM Punk and Seth Rollins and not injecting himself back into that, I find confusing. So I got a couple of ideas. I think it could be CM Punk versus Gunther, because of course they had their little falling out on Raw. And you could do Seth Rollins versus Roman Reigns. That is a huge match. And it's a match that people have been asking for ages. And given that Seth Rollins has his Money in the Bank briefcase, I actually think you can repeat WrestleMania 31, and this may be what defines night 1 of SummerSlam. So you do Roman versus Seth. Roman's not going to lose. Different argument, different video for a different day. And of course, comment below and let me know what you think. But Seth Rollins can benefit from this, because later on when it is Punk versus Gunther, who can come out and cash in their Money in the Bank? It can be Seth Rollins. Now, there is another way to do this, of course. You can do Seth Rollins versus CM Punk, which is also a match that we've teased given what happened out at Night of Champions. And then somehow you'd have to get to Roman Reigns versus Gunther, which I find more confusing. Maybe it ties into the Goldberg stuff, but that sounds crap. And then it's actually CM Punk that beat Seth Rollins earlier in the day instead of Roman Reigns. And then Seth Rollins comes out to screw over Roman, which he could do. And then he's kind of still in the position you want him to be. And CM Punk's also got that win. It's super difficult. I actually think I prefer Roman versus Seth. But given that Punk has been so mad at Seth Rollins, I don't see how you ignore that, unless, of course, Gunther gets more angry with Punk and Punk wants that world championship. But then you can come at me and say, Simon, didn't CM Punk just lose a WWE title match? Why would he instantly be inserted into the other one? Well, it's kind of wishy-washy, but I think all of these guys are going to be linked for the rest of the year. I just can't believe they won't be going for a world championship, especially because, again, Seth Rollins screwed them both over. So if I go with what I want as opposed to what I think, I would do Seth versus Roman, because I am one of those guys that wanted that match for ages. And I don't think it's going to be a main event of WrestleMania next year, because I think it's going to be Punk versus Cody. And then I guess you could do it on night 1. Either way, I'm going for Roman Reigns versus Seth Rollins here. CM Punk somehow gets another title match against Gunther, but ultimately it's Seth Rollins that walks away with the championship. And then even if he does lose to Roman Reigns or a CM Punk, if you do it that way, Seth is still on top because he's got the belt. It's exactly what we saw at WrestleMania 31 between him and Randy Orton. But this could be some seriously good story stuff. I mean, Roman Reigns coming back is going to be big. People go crazy. OTC, we love you so much. And Seth Rollins is the guy right now, and CM Punk is just this walking anomaly. And let's not rule out Gunther either. That Gunther with that World Championship presents a challenge. And it also makes everything we are doing with Punk, Roman, and Seth, which has been going on a while now, more interesting. And I think it may level up Gunther too, like an RPG, and we should always be looking to do that. So there's my mad booking. I think it will be some sort of connection between all four, but at the same time, maybe Roman Reigns just comes back and teams with Jake for two. And then I'm like an idiot, but I think we get to get on our high horse and then be like, wait a minute, the last time we saw him, he was falling out with Seth Rollins, because that's when his new group was born. We wait and see. I just think you could get John Cena involved in here as well. He does become a babyface. And then there's your War Games teams. You can have Roman Reigns, you can have CM Punk, you can have whoever else I said, you can have John Cena, and everyone is going to love seeing Roman Reigns, John Cena, and CM Punk on the same team at War Games. It'd be one of those things that people talk about for ages, and it'll probably make them a lot of money. And that is what WWE cares about the most. Moore's got another random one based on some of the stuff we are doing at Evolution. I hope that it is Charlotte and Alexa Bliss taking on Raquel Rodriguez and Roxanne Perez for the women's tag team titles. I think that I get confused now. I keep saying Raquel and Liv. I think Raquel and Roxy should win that Evolution match because we have to establish Roxanne Perez has wormed her way into the Judgment Day. But Charlotte Flair and Alexa Bliss are now a team, so they can lose without losing because there's 4 people in that match or 4 teams in that match. And then we can do the big match at SummerSlam because doing this is going to serve everybody. Those women tag team championships need some star power attached to them. Raquel and Liv were awesome, and Raquel and Roxy are still awesome. But if Charlotte Flair and Alexa Bliss win them, I mean, these are people, or these are wrestlers, I should say, that people see at the tippity top of the card, so we can finally save those women's tag team championships. And it all depends on what you want to do with Raquel and Roxy. Why do I find that so hard to say? Because Roxanne Perez could screw up, which ties into the other story we've already talked about, the final disintegration, which is not a word, the falling apart of the Judgment Day, and it's because Roxy screws up. But I just really like those women's tag team titles, and WWE has done some great stuff with them in the last couple of years, especially when it was Jade and Bianca and Naomi, and everything that Liv and Raquel did was awesome. But now they've fallen away again. We've done nothing since WrestleMania. So you put them on Charlotte and Alexis, again, who are just massive stars. I just think we got to do it. And we do it at SummerSlam. And then, yes, WWE probably can they coexist storyline? But I don't care, right? If I have to handle that just to get here, I will take it. That's right, I'm going to say it happens at SummerSlam. Julia versus Nia Jax, I also think we're going to get, which sounds random, but listen, Julia just won the US Championship, and what does WWE love to do? Put a big old monster up against someone that she finally beats. I mean, sometimes Julia comes across as a heel, but recently it feels like she's a face again. No one does a Nia Jax match like a Nia Jax match. I do think she'll be on the card. Hasn't been on that many SummerSlams, Nia Jax. It's kind of weird. And again, you can just picture like 1980s wrestling. How is Julia going to take down the big bad monster? And then she does. Ultimately, I feel like we need to throw more bodies into the US title scene anyway, because the Zelina Vega stuff was a bit drab, and I love Chelsea Green winning it, but we didn't really pull the trigger there. So let's just keep it old school, like I say, for now. Julia can beat Nia Jax. No one's going to mind. Kind of feels like a SmackDown match to me opposed to SummerSlam, but I think it'll happen that weekend, and I wanted to make sure I focused on all the belts. Which is why I've got Mad SmackDown Tag Team match. I mean, there's so many teams. I suppose you can't just do Street Profits versus the Wyatts again, because we did that on SmackDown and other people got involved. So it's probably going to have to be, it'll probably be a ladder match, right, or something like that. But it'll be the Wyatts, it'll be the Street Profits, it'll be DIY, it'll be Fraxium, it will be the Garzans. I missed somebody else here as well, and the Machine Guns. That's 6 teams. I don't even think I've got all of them. Why isn't one of them? You got Andrade and Phoenix too. That's 7 teams. Some of these need to be moved to Raw. Do I think we're going to do a 7-team match? Yes. Yes, I do. Screw it. I'm just going to say it. There's going to be a 7-team match, which is what, 14 people? 14 people in a match. Maybe it's not a ladder match. We did kind of do that at WrestleMania. That was TLC. This one just completely loses me. And let's not pretend otherwise. The tag team belts at large have been forgotten about on occasions they shouldn't have been, WrestleMania being an example. So are they even going to be featured on SummerSlam weekend? I'm going to say yes, because I think they should be. But also, if my Finn Balor idea happens, the Raw belts wouldn't be defended either, and then we're kind of walking off in the wrong direction. But I am going mad SmackDown tag team match, and yes, that counts as a prediction. Also, suppose we have to do something between Ron Killing's Aleister Black and Damian Priest, because they seem to all be married together, and you could throw Carmelo Hayes in there. The question is, what the flub would they be fighting for? Could it be a number one contendership for the US title? I suppose so. There was a rumor that Damian Priest was going to be factored in heavily to SummerSlam. Great match on paper, but doesn't feel like something that we could blow up. Are we going to do a tag team match? I don't think so, because Aleister Black and Carmella Hayes being together is bizarre, and you're not going to have R-Truth and Damian Priest fall out. But these four people have to be on the show, and again, they have been interacting backstage on SmackDown. So I'll go with a Fatal 4-Way, because to tie into what we said earlier, WWE loves multi-mans. But this is an interesting one, but I'm slipping it onto the card. But then we kind of had some Raw guys that are sort of just hanging around playing Nintendo too. I've got them written down here. You got Sami Zayn, you got Penta, you got Phoenix. But I mean, Phoenix is a SmackDown person. That may be affected because of the El Grande Americano stuff. But no Sami Zayn, no Jey Uso, I haven't put him on there. I mean, Jimmy Uso could get involved with the Bloodline stuff. Could we see a tag team between Jey Uso and Sami Zayn just to sort of tide them over, but then they go after the Judgment Day? We've already talked about that. I can't see a SummerSlam with no Sami Zayn on it, but I also can't see, unless it's going to do him versus Jey Uso, but that would mean that Sami Zayn has to go heel. I don't think you turn Jey Uso heel now, so I'll say it for fun. Sami Zayn versus Jey Uso. But realistically, as I said a lot quieter, that makes me sound like an absolute buffoon, which I am, but that's not the point. And of course, there's other people as well that we need to talk about, but we are getting up to sort of 15, 16, 17, 18 matches here, and I don't think that's what... Well, that was always my worry with two-day events. The WWE guy will do 6 on each night. I will do 7. I will do 8. Then you're having 47 matches. It's like WrestleMania 36 all over again. But none of this matters. All that matters is what you think is going to happen at SummerSlam. Drop me a comment below. Anything goes. Be bold, but just make sure any crazy predictions you do, you can root them in reality. So let's say Yokozuna versus The Undertaker. It's not going to happen, although it would be a good match, and it was back in the day. Also, please do like the video, share the video, subscribe, click the video on the screen for more content from me. Otherwise, it is patreon.com for Simon316. If you're into fitness, check out grillermind.com/Simon. You can Simon get 10% off best supplements in the world. Simon316 on social media, Simon Miller on Cameo, Simon J. Miller on TikTok, Big Cartel and Pro Wrestling Tees for brand new merchandise going up all of the time. But if you could just interact with this video, you don't even have to watch. Just click things and leave, go have a sandwich. I'd massively appreciate it, and I appreciate you, and I'll see you on the next one.